Hey guys, welcome to another super exciting video. How do you guys feel about some Metroidvania adventures? Honestly, I feel it has been quite a while since we had some good ones, but fret not, that's what I'm here for. I mean, I'm here to tell you guys about every Metroidvania adventure that is releasing this year. And this month alone is stacked with games that feel wildly different from each other, but all scratch that same exploration itch I love. These upcoming releases feel bold, personal, and risky in the best ways. So let me walk you through 14 Metroidvania games that genuinely have me counting days already. MIO, Memories in Orbit. Let's kick things off with MIO, Memories in Orbit, because I can already tell this one is going to live rent-free in my head. I mean, the moment I read about waking up as an android named Mio inside a drifting technological ark called the Vessel, I was locked in. It's a massive, decaying spaceship that feels like a forgotten god. Machines have gone rogue, vegetation has reclaimed steel corridors, and the AI caretakers, known as the Pearls, have mysteriously shut down. I really love how the story leans into memory and identity territory. You're not just saving the ship here. You're piecing together who Mio actually is and why this place was ever built in the first place, repairing damaged robots, uncovering fragments of the vessel's past, and slowly walking in its lost memories feels intimate, not just heroic. Gameplay-wise, it's classic Metroidvania flow done with style. Grappling hooks, air gliding, wall clinging, and ability mods that let me completely reshape how Mio plays. And with a January 20th, 2026 release date, this one feels dangerously close already. Cairn. And if drifting space arcs and lost machine memories aren't enough for you, this next one takes that sense of isolation and cranks it up vertically with Cairn. I'll be honest, this is the kind of game that makes my palms sweat. You play as Ava, a professional climber attempting the ascent of Mount Kami, a summit no one has ever conquered. There's no grand army to fight here and no flashy villain waiting at the top. The mountain itself is the antagonist, and that's what hooks me. As Ava climbs higher, she stays connected with voices from below, people who worry, people who doubt, and people she may be leaving behind. I mean, the game asks what she's willing to sacrifice for this dream, not just physically, but emotionally too. Every route is your choice. Every grip matters. Every mistake can send you plummeting. Managing pittance, food, exhaustion, and fear feels brutal in the best way. With Cairn launching on January 29th, 2026, this one feels like a quiet, relentless climb straight into my must-watch list. Tales of Fate. Coming down from that sheer vertical tension of Cairn, let's shift into something darker, warmer, and almost fairy tale tragic with Tales of Fate. This one immediately feels like a storybook that's been left out in the rain a little too long. The land of fauna used to be peaceful, full of anthropomorphic creatures living in harmony until something ancient and rotten started pushing in from the shadows. You'll really be drawn into how personal the setup feels. Reynard, Varkin, and Cole are trying to save a world that's actively falling apart around them, and the tone leans more tragic than heroic. The Tavern of Ursidai feels like a last safe place where stories, rumors, and quiet fears collide before you head back into ruins, cursed forests, and collapsing kingdoms. Gameplay-wise, it sounds brutally satisfying without being mindless. Switching between 3 characters, each with distinct combat styles, layered builds, and soul-like boss fights makes every encounter feel deliberate. There's no exact date yet, but this already feels like one of those slow burn Metroidvanias that sneaks up and completely consumes you. Kotama and Academy Citadel. And just when I think this list can't get any more varied, we're pivoting hard into sleek sci-fi territory with Kotama and Academy Citadel. And yeah, this one immediately grabs my curiosity. Instead of ancient ruins or cursed forests, we're stepping into Carmel Academy, a massive academy city where power decides everything. We're playing as Kotama, a transfer student who clearly isn't here by accident. There's a century-old conspiracy baked into the walls of this place, and the more I read, the more it feels like the academy itself is watching every move I make. The time manipulation angle is really gripping to me. Kotama can rewind time, revisit earlier points, and recontextualize areas that once felt familiar. That idea alone makes exploration feel layered and unsettling. Story-wise, it's not just about climbing ranks to become the Carmel Star. It's about uncovering why this system exists and what Kotama's true role in it is. Gameplay leans fast and stylish. Fluid-based combat, precise dodges, and split-second detonations all sound intense without feeling mindless. With its January 15th, 2026 release date, this one feels dangerously close and very hard to ignore. Mira and the Legend of the Djinns. And after all that sci-fi intensity and academy politics, this next one pulls you straight into myth, sand, and spiritual mystery. With Mira and the Legend of the Djinns, you'll instantly love how different this world feels. We're talking unrelenting deserts, ancient necropoli, floating islands called Fallen Amazgesh that already sounds like it's carrying centuries of grief. The story follows Yuba, a treasure hunter who stumbles into something way bigger than a routine job when he discovers Mira, a djinn who's lost her memories and maybe her entire past. That bond they form feels emotional, spiritual, and tied directly to the collapse of 2 worlds colliding into one. Uncovering the truth behind the last djinn feels personal, not prophetic. Gameplay takes a back seat here, but it still sounds slick. Elemental weapons tied to solar, lunar, infernal, and celestial powers, fast weapon switching, and spells that matter outside combat. There's no locked date yet beyond 2026, but this one already feels special. Little Nemo and the Guardians of Slumberland. And just when the deserts and ancient spirits start weighing heavy, let's take the softest possible turn into pure dream logic with Little Nemo and the Guardians of Slumberland. And honestly, I don't know how much I needed this until now. I've always loved stories where the rules feel loose and imagination runs the show. And Slumberland feels exactly like that. You're stepping into a dream world as Little Nemo, not to save reality, but to protect a place that only exists while you're asleep. That alone gives the story this fragile feeling, like everything could vanish the moment you wake up. Toys aren't cute collectibles here. They're literal tools of survival, each one reshaping how Nemo navigates this strange dreamscape. Candy, stuffed animals, pajamas with hidden powers. It all feels whimsical, but there's clearly danger lurking under the colors. Gameplay-wise, it's very classic Metroidvania, ability-gated exploration and boss encounters, but wrapped in a hand-animated charm. Slated for Q1 2026, this feels like a comfort game with real depth hiding underneath. House of Decay. But not every release is all soft, dreamy, and comforting like Slumberland, because this next game snaps the mood in a totally different direction with House of Decay. I kind of love that whiplash. One second, I'm in a child's dream, and the next, I'm dropped into a demon world that straight up tells me coming here was a terrible idea. The setup is simple but unsettling. Your brother has been taken by demons, and nobody, including the game itself, seems convinced it's worth trying to save him. That alone gives the story this darkly sarcastic tone that really stands out. Cute monsters, collectible pets, and a retro PS1 style aesthetic make this demon realm feel weirdly inviting. Exploring 8 distinct locations, uncovering shortcuts, and slowly unlocking abilities feels very classic Metroidvania, but with a chunky 3D collectathon twist. Your character visually changes with every upgrade. It makes progression feel tangible. Slated for February 2026, this feels like one of those quietly strange games that ends up being way more memorable than you expect. Nevergrave, The Witch and the Curse. This next one leans straight into cursed fairy tale energy with Nevergrave, The Witch and the Curse, and I'm honestly fascinated by how weirdly cozy and dangerous it all sounds at the same time. The whole journey revolves around a witch paired with a cursed hat, which already tells me this world isn't plain nice. You're diving downward through ever-changing ruins, gardens, and forgotten spaces, trying to reach the lowest depths while everything actively wants you gone. You might really like that the story frame feels cyclical. You venture out, get beaten up, drag yourself back home, and slowly rebuild a ruined village that becomes your emotional anchor between runs. You're taking over enemies, stealing their abilities, and using those powers to open new paths and survive brutal encounters. That ties exploration directly into combat in a smart way. Gameplay leans roguelite, but the Metroidvania DNA is strong with artifact-based progression and ability unlocks. Launching on March 5th, 2026, this feels like one of those games I'll keep thinking about long after a run ends. Clockwork Ambrosia. Our next game shifts the energy into full steampunk chaos with Clockwork Ambrosia, and I love how ambitious it sounds on paper. Here, I'm stepping into the boots of Iris, an airship engineer who survives a near-fatal crash and ends up stranded on an island that feels completely wrong. Entire civilizations are gone, replaced by hostile robots and twisted machines. And the deeper Iris digs, the clearer it becomes that this disaster has been building for ages. The underlying theme is really hooking: knowledge, ego, and progress spiraling out of control. This doesn't feel like a simple save the world setup. It feels like uncovering a mistake no one wants to admit. The world itself sounds incredibly varied. Floating cloud cities, glowing mushroom forests, and sunken mechanical kingdoms all tied together through exploration. Gameplay takes a backseat to story here, but the weapon building system sounds wild. Mixing shot splitters, missiles, and armor-piercing rounds feels like experimentation is the real power fantasy. Slated for April 2026, this one feels like a slow burn obsession waiting to happen. Solateria. And just when steampunk guns and mechanical chaos start fading from view, this one slows everything down and asks for precision with Solateria. And yeah, this feels like it's built to test patience in the best way possible. The story hits that classic, melancholic Metroidvania note I always fall for. You wake up as a small fire elemental warrior with no memories, in a land that used to thrive under the primordial flame. Now, Solateria is rotting from the inside, thanks to the Shadow Plague. The king has vanished, and the only thing pushing you forward is a voice telling you the truth matters. I really like how quiet and somber that setup sounds. It's less about saving the world loudly and more about understanding what went wrong. Parrying isn't optional flair here. It's survival, identity, and progression all rolled together. Every perfectly timed parry breaks enemies down and feeds directly into exploration and growth. Gameplay-wise, it's clearly demanding, but deliberately so. Slated for Q1 2026, this feels like one of those games that rewards mastery, not speed. Eden's Garden. Finishing up with the chaotic co-op panic and laugh-out-loud disasters, this next game drags the tone straight back into myth, tragedy, and blood-soaked history with Eden's Guardian. And man, how heavy this world feels! This is no fantasy land that fell apart for vague reasons. Gods interfered. Love crossed lines it never should have. Power faded, desperation set in, and madness followed. You play as a guardian who actually tried to stop all of this and paid for it by being imprisoned. That angle alone hits hard. You're waking up angry, guilty, and late to a disaster you warned everyone about. The world you're returning to isn't unfamiliar. It's broken in ways that feel personal. As you explore, you're piecing together what happened during your absence and how divine ambition poisoned everything. No release date yet, but Eden's Guardian already feels like a slow, grim descent I'm absolutely ready for. The perfect pencil. And just when gods, curses, and ruined worlds feel overwhelming enough, this next game turns inward and honestly feels even more unsettling with the perfect pencil. Instead of ancient myths or collapsing kingdoms, we're dropped straight into the human mind itself, and that shift immediately grabs me. You play as John, who wakes up inside a strange, hand-drawn realm known as the Kingdom of the White Beast. Nothing here feels safe or stable. Characters behave oddly, environments feel symbolic rather than logical, and there's this constant sense that something is watching and waiting. The story leans heavily into fear, self-reflection, and personal growth, and I really like how it frames boss fights as manifestations of the psyche rather than traditional villains. Scanning NPCs and objects to uncover hidden truths makes exploration feel introspective, almost uncomfortable at times. Gameplay supports that mood with careful platforming and tense encounters, but the narrative clearly leads the way. Launching this January 29th, this one feels like it's going to linger in your head long after the screen fades to black. Dumbriel, Magnificent Adventure in Hell. And for our last game, this one flips the table and drops you straight into hell with a grin on its face in Dumbriel, Magnificent Adventure in Hell. You'll really love how unapologetically absurd the premise is. You're not some mighty demon lord or destined champion. No, sir, you're a clumsy fallen angel who clearly was not built for the underworld. Hell here is no fire and brimstone. It's layered, mysterious, and full of secrets that feel almost mischievous in how they're hidden. As you push deeper into hell, you start uncovering forgotten powers, meeting strange allies, and learning that this place has rules you can actually bend if you survive long enough. The bosses sound especially interesting. Multi-phase fights with personalities and lore attached make every encounter feel meaningful, not just punishing. Gameplay-wise, it leans hard into die, learn, upgrade, repeat, but exploration still drives everything forward. Slated for Q2 2026, this feels like controlled chaos in the best possible way. So yeah, 2026 feels like a statement year for Metroidvanias. These games sure look experimental. Different art styles, strange mechanics, emotional stories, and worlds that actually feel worth getting lost in. Doesn't matter if you're playing on PC, PlayStation, Xbox, or wherever you can. There's something here that's going to click. Now I'm curious, which one are you watching closest and why? Be sure to hit like and let me know which one in the comments.